The score currently 3-1 with KT Rolster in the lead here. It'll be up to Flying to essentially bring the game back into their court here, or at least give them an opportunity to. And Flying spawning in the bottom right-hand position as the red Protoss from WOONGJIN Stars.
His opponent having two hands on keyboard for a second over there. His name is Zest, playing for KT Rolster, spawning as a green Protoss on Akilon Wastes.
So you're saying his APM is so amazing that he actually has to play with two hands on the keyboard at once?
Maybe. Just maybe.
Or occasionally use the mouse to click things or scroll on the screen, otherwise it's just
Hey, remember, Boxer, who was known for amazing micro, he did use the right hand to actually use the arrow keys on the keyboard. Did
he continue to do that throughout his entire career?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure because that was early on during his career, and that's when he was really micro intensive, I have to say, before everyone started going for a little more. Before, well, I have to say before the map Luna.
Yeah.
Because you could pretty much talk about Brood War before and after Luna. The map Luna, was it called the Luna? I think it was called the Luna.
Yeah, it was Luna.
Yeah. Basically, that map revolutionized StarCraft by actually promoting the macro style plays instead of just micro heavy plays.
Yeah, so it completely changed the way StarCraft was played, essentially.
Yes.
And pretty much that map has affected everything in StarCraft 1 and 2 to this day.
Think of it as going from Steps of Wars to Tolerant Malter.
That's actually a really good analysis there. Think about it like that, how much that changed the way races can play, what timings work, what timings don't work, what builds are viable, what builds are not viable. A lot of things like that have really just changed over time, and just evolution of a game, man.
Yeah,
evolution of an esport.
Yeah, and there was no balance changes throughout because they used the maps to balance everything out, which was fantastic from the map makers. So yes, we do have the Blizzard, going for the balance changes here and there, but I like the approach that they're taking right now with the, slow, take it easy, and just look at how players played out before making a huge balance change.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, if you guys want to check, Blizzard did talk about some of the few balance changes they want to add into StarCraft. They're going to be doing, I think, a test map sometime within the next week or two, even. So we'll be able to eventually see what they're up to. But getting into the game here, guys, right now we have the simulators for both players. They both also have their cores just about finished up here. A Zealot first for Flying, while we see Zest going for a Sentry here. And Sentry generally means more defensive play, and the Zealot means you want to be pretty safe against any type of really early attacks, and you want to potentially put on some pressure of your own.
Oh yeah, so we might even see a fast Nexus from Zest. Zest. We've seen some players try to go for it on this specific map. Yeah, we've even seen that yesterday. Oz versus, who was his opponent? It was a Protoss player from STXO. Was it Deer?
I think it was either... Yeah, it was probably Deer.
Because I know Trap went for the... well, the double gateway. So, some players try to go for the early Nexus while getting the sentries out. Or other players, they try to be as defensive as possible and trying to deny his opponent from pushing up the ramp because they started out one gate.
All right, now looking at the progression of the game here, we are seeing a Twilight Council with two gateways for Zest here, and his opponent Flying going for that Stargate play here. Now, Blink is a little bit better over Stargate, at least in the short run. It's not necessarily game-winning, but it will give you an advantage generally. Well,
I have to say it really depends on the Oracle usage from Flying, because he's making an Oracle for himself right now. If the Oracle can kill up to, around 7 or 8 probes, it's definitely worth it, and it's going to put Zest so behind in the game, especially if the build that he is going for has to put some pressure on his opponent earlier in the game.
Yep, and we do have
a second Oracle.
Ooh, this is interesting. I think he wants to apply a lot of pressure towards the front of Zest's base here. It was a mistake?
That was a mistake.
All right, well, we are going to see a Phoenix there, so he's like, yeah, that's right. And look at that, spotting the Oracle with that hallucinated Phoenix there. That's going to help out Zest so much in defending against this. And, I mean, just look at what we see right now, guys. Blink is on the way. It's getting pretty close to being done. And now, looks like Flying moving up the ramp. This is actually a big mistake. Oh, Zest not doing a force field there. He could have potentially killed off a lot of those units.
Yeah, he could have done it, but he's just saying not so fast. He does have the Stalkers and the Mothership Core in position to defend against the Oracle, and now Flying knows he can't do any damage.
Yeah, Flying essentially just forced back to his main base. I would not be surprised if he tried to go for some type of expansion relatively soon here. He's not really making any more air units beyond this Phoenix as well, and really just probing up and making a few more units behind this. But he's going to have to prepare for that Blink, and he's getting the Robo now, but the problem is Blink's almost done here.
The Blink is almost done, but this is the best decision that he can make. The Void Rays don't do as much in a small count, and look at this Phoenix trying to go for the Mothership Core, but there's only one Phoenix, which is not going to do anything against the Mothership Core. So back to Flying situation. Yes, he could take an expansion for himself, but that's really risky because his opponent has Blink and he could win the game right away.
I'll hold that thought, man. Look at this. We have Void Rays on the way here from Flying here. And so what does that mean? He's going to have the Robotech, and he's also going to have Void Rays in his army composition.
Well, the Robo is against for the possible DT, so he's going to Chrono Boost out Observer as soon as the Robo finishes for himself. The Void Ray is for, you know, nice addition, and if he actually gets up to high count, then it's going to be fantastic against his opponent's Gateway-centric army composition. But if Zest actually decides to blink around the map, then he could actually take out the Void Rays one by one. He could even go for mass gateway style play where the mass stalkers just counter the Void Rays.
Yeah,
he can even go to Templars really quickly because he has the Twilight Council.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. You know, there's a lot of different PvP styles of play in Heart of the Storm because of how much Void Rays have really changed the matchup and made Colossus not a completely dominant unit in the matchup here. And we do have an expansion going up for our opponent here, and Oracle moving in. Not going to be able to do really anything at this point, though.
Blink into the main base by Zest. Let's see how much damage he can do. But it seems like Flying already knows about it.
All right, so the Blink does go into the main base here, but is going to be able to do a lot of damage. He's just going to try to focus down as many probes as possible, get ahead in the economic game here. He's able to snipe down a few of them. I think he's gotten up to 4 or 5 at this point. And now we have the Oracle and the Phoenix going to the natural of Zest space here. He's going to kill off 2 probes before getting out of there. And look at this. These Stalkers, they escape, and 6 have been killed. Oh, Zest has to be careful there. Nice multitasking there, though, from Zest.
He didn't have that many probes at the natural, so, you know, he was only able to get 2 probes, and now Zest fully aware of what his opponent has. He places the Stalkers at the natural. He needs to still put some Stalkers inside the main base. He's getting the Immortals for himself for the better firepower on the ground, but he eventually needs to start going into the Colossus tech.
Oh, looks like that. The Phoenix almost had their forward blink going down, but the Phoenix will survive. And the harassment by Flying, it's really just annoying. Nothing else at this point. Robotics Bay is getting built by Flying here, not really committing to the Void Rays apparently. It looks like he's very scared of that high Stalker count from Zest. Also Forge on the way from Zest as well. Both players grabbing their simulators at the natural. Oracle moving in here, trying to do a little bit more harassment, but backs out in the end there. Realizes that the defense from his opponent is still pretty solid, and we do have our first Colossus out on the way from Flying. We also have a little bit more of a harassment here. The Blink Stalkers trying to snipe down that Void Ray, but it's just not going to happen.
I guess he's just expecting Flying to go really high Void Ray count earlier in the game and trying to, you know, slowly cut it down one by one. That's why he's also not going for the Colossus tech himself, but now it seems like he's slowly taking into it with the second Robo.
Look at this. After seeing only 1 Void Ray and realizing that Flying wasn't going to make any more, he's like, okay, well, I'm just going to go double Robo all the way, man.
He double confirms it with the Phoenixes, the hallucinated Phoenixes.
Everything completely confirmed here. I'd have to say Zest, his position in this game is quite good because he knows exactly what's going on. Flying is a little bit more on the defensive here because of the mobility of the Blink Stalkers, and is going for that double Robo.
Now remember, Flying does have better firepower at this point in the game, and it's going to be Zest's mistake if he actually moves out and try to finish the game early on. Instead, Zest, he should just leave the Blink Stalkers outside of the main base, try to pressure his opponent a little bit, and utilize the double Robo for himself and the better economy. Remember, when we saw the probe count before, it was around 40. It was around 44 to 37 of Flying, and that probe isn't going anywhere.
It's not going anywhere, but it's not going to die as well. That is just one confused Phoenix there, and this Mortal hacking down all those rocks here. We were seeing a 3rd base from Zest here. Will Flying follow it up with 3rd base of his own? Zest will be able to do a little bit of denying at the 3rd base, or at least delaying the Phoenixes there at least. or sorry, with the Stalkers there at least, so he can use that to his advantage here and force flying out of the main base.
So now the Stalkers are trying to see where his opponent might be able to take a third base, but Flying is taking a third base in the pocket position between the rocks, and now he's going to try to catch up with the second Robo for himself.
Getting that second Robo. Also, we have extended thermal lances on the way for Zest here. It's about halfway done. Adding on 5 more gateways here, so he really is going to commit to this. And Stalker's getting a little overeager there. He's going to move back to them. Nice move by Flying there, killing those destructible rocks to block that path to that third base. And, oh, look at this. We have a little bit more annoying harassment from Zest here. You know, just trying to target down a few of those probes there. And I think he actually managed to get 6 or 7 there, so that was very cost efficient from him.
Now, remember, back in Wings of Liberty, so many casters were emphasizing they need to start throwing away Stalkers this point in the game. And those Stalkers, even if they get taken out, they did their job by taking out multiple number of probes while blinking inside the natural. Because when it comes to the main army battle, those Stalkers are going to do nothing against the Colossus-based army from both players.
Yep, indeed, that is true. Now, you know, we have Zest doing a little bit of damage. Oh, look at this. Oracle trying to kill off a few probes here, but the Nexus Cannon is going to eventually kill off that Oracle. It does manage to get 8 kills total, but Zest still has done a much better job with his harassment throughout this game. +1 armor on the way for Flying. He's getting a second Forge. Twilight Council, but Charge already on the way for Zest here, and he's already researching that +2. And I'm not sure, this may be a little bit of a mistake by Flying the move out here. Zest going to go move in there with the Stalkers and see if he can do some type of harassment.
But look, the armies are actually split between the map. Look at this main army of Zest is actually sitting outside of the third base, and Flying is going to go for the attack. That Colossus is going to get picked off easily.
Unfortunately, Zest essentially donating a Colossus for free there to Flying's army, and now it looks like he's forced back to be on the defensive here. The rocks haven't been destroyed there as well. Nexus Cannon still is down, but this is kind of a weird position for Zest to be in here. He needs to know exactly where his opponent is, and he needs to try to hit at a good engagement, or at least prevent an engagement from happening until he's ready for it.
What happened to the 3 Stalkers that was at the natural? Is it going to blink into the main base once again?
There we go. Yes, he is going to go ahead and do that. Nice overall control from Zest here. He's just really been on top of this game here as far as the Blink Stalker control and harassment is.
Yeah, even trying to blink inside deeper and trying to get more probe kills before trading the army away efficiently.
Yeah, keyword trading it efficiently. Actually, if we look at the supplies here, Zest very far ahead in the work count here, but Flying, it looks like he wants to do some harassment of his own. Moving that Phoenix in there. Is it going to go down? 4 health left here, and the Warp Prism going to move in. It looks like either to the natural or main or third base here.
Now, with the Stalkers being drawn out, Flying can go for the drop inside the main base with the Warp Prism that he has. Both players going for the Templar Tech, so now they're going to start adding in the Archon into the main army composition. And both players, pretty soon, they're going to start taking the fourth base, since the main base is going to dry out pretty soon.
Yeah, I would actually, right now, what I would love to see is like a double Stargate play from Flying here and just start making lots of Void Rays, because look at the army composition from Zest, man.
Well, it's kind of hard for him to do so because he has the gas, but he doesn't have the minerals. So it's hard for him to transition, so that's why he's going into Templar Tech first, because that's the best option, even going for the DT behind it.
All right, now the Warp Prism moving into the main base of Zest. He's a little bit out of position. Going to be forced to warp in a lot of units here, but we have a big warp in from Flying as well. Zealots are going to be able to massacre this expansion. Essentially, they're going for the Forge, though, and that Forge +3, it's on the way, but it's going to get canceled, or at this point, completely destroyed. Nice little maneuver from Flying there. You know, he's got a lot of minerals. Why not take out that Forge?
And look at the minimap. Because of this, Flying is slowly taking over the map control once again.
And this Colossus has to be careful there. It does survive there, but a little bit low on health now, and really it's going to get back into that tense situation in PvP where, you know, it's a War of the Worlds, War of the Colossi.
All right, so let's just wait until 20 more minutes when they decide to finally engage into their opponent's army.
All right, man, take 20. When you're back, we can go ahead and commentate the end of the game.
I'll be right back. I'm kidding right away.
I think everyone out there understood that was a joke. Anyway, actually 3 sentries in the army of Zest here. I think he he could probably throw away at least one of those and just save 2 for Guardian Shield here. The Archons are starting to be added into the army here. Zest does have a superior army composition right now, and he's getting close to the maxed out, but at the same time, Flying has caught up in the supply. We do have that Warp Prism, though, that can help reinforce instantly to wherever Zest decides to fight as far as the battlegrounds go. And now Zest moving in here, Time Warp's going down, and it could still be anyone's game here. It looks like we had a few good swipes from Flying at the first beginning here, but look at that. Nice charge lot warp in from Zest, and I think that's going to be it. He's broken through Flying's defenses here. That Warp Prism worth his weight in gold, and now the Colossus count immensely favoring Zest. Flying is running about back here, but he just doesn't have anything to support the Colossus from behind.
Yeah, Flying's Colossus was actually trying to attack the Archons of Flying Zest, and look at this, even the Immortals dancing around, and GG!
Zest showing a superior understanding of PvP there, and really, he only had a small advantage that game. You know, he wasn't ahead by a lot, but he was able to take that and bring a victory to KT Rolster.
Now remember, at the final battle, yes, his opponent Flying had 1 more Immortal. However, Zest had 4 more Archons to shield the damage. He had the Warp Prism for the instant warp-in of the Zealous on the main army.
Yeah, really just the warp-in with the Warp Prism and the superior Archon count. Those 2 things made a humongous difference. It was like night and day there in that fight there.
So I'm surprised at today. Is this the same KT roster that we have been seeing in previous matches in Heart of the Swarm? Because this team looked really solid today.
You know what, I have to say that this looks like KT from rounds 1 and 2. Not 3 and before this 4.
Yeah, and they never took down WOONGJIN Stars, even if they were doing great.
And now, you know what? Hold on. I want to mention something. KT Rolster took them down 4-1. It wasn't even close, man.